Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Winds of Change. I didn't film one yesterday because we got caught behind by that one day where I was trying to extend my limit before resorting to splitting stuff. But yeah, this is a good quest coming up, actually, and what would part 3 be without a quest that takes you back to the Jade Brotherhood stronghold? It wouldn't be part 3, would it? So we get finally the very last quest that, I shit you not, will take us back to the Jade Brotherhood stronghold. It's a great quest, though. We get to speak to an old friend that hasn't really been in the plot that much lately. He spared our lives last time we saw him, but he did it begrudgingly, and we kind of get to see some cool stuff. It's very dialogue driven. There's not much combat. It's just generally a cool quest, and maybe I can even get it done in the 15 minutes, but let's not hold our breath. We're going to speak to Cowlin. And by the way, there's this quest, then there's a really hard quest after it, and then there's the final quest. And then we are done with the Winds of Change, except obviously the rewards and the dialogues. But still, we're getting close to the end here. Anyway, so Cowlin says, is this the last one we get from Cowlin? Oh, no, I think we get the other two from him as well. Anyway, he says, Tom Bluewood, thank the gods you are here. A group of peasants have taken to the streets to protest the Ministry of Purity's increase in power and show opposition to the ever-restrictive policies they have enacted. While they are unarmed and have made it clear that this is an entirely peaceful rally, the Ministry of Purity has dispatched a squad to intercept them and suppress the demonstrators by whatever means necessary. One of my men saw their orders, and Reiko has declared them militant partisans and given her men the orders to kill them on sight. I kind of notice here that earlier in Winds of Change, we kind of had reasons for why Cowlin might know something like this. But, you know, like we had the letter and stuff. But now they just kind of skip over it. We have protested this, but are tied down by bureaucratic nonsense. They say that it takes days for a resolution permitting us to intervene or ordering the ministry to stand down. And by then, the demonstrators will be nothing but unmarked graves. Please go and warn the demonstrators. If you can get them to Zakwang Skyway, there are places they can hide until the ministry calls off their search. Speak me with again until you're ready to travel. I have a boat waiting. So I will stop this blood path before it starts, or I had a bad experience at a political rally recently. Count me out. I think the decline could be in reference to like all the stuff that was going on in America lately, but I'm not 100% sure. It could be. That's certainly what I thought of when this came out, because it wasn't, you know, too long before that. And in a sense, it's still kind of going on. But still, I will stop this blood path before it starts. We can say that, and we don't actually have to walk to the area this time, which is one of the reasons why there's less fighting to do here. We can just zone straight there. Now, there's a lot of dialogue. I'll try my best not to get caught behind with it. Just enjoy, and maybe I'll comment on it afterwards. Yeah, I'm ready to travel. Let's do it. Waijun Bazaar. And we'll be here at the place, the stronghold. Nobody's here, as you can see. It's not been leveled or destroyed, as I suggested in a previous episode. But we can come up here. I will flag my heroes just there by the stairs. And we will come in. When you come into this mission, make sure you got some kind of speed boost. I already do from the previous quest. But Jinzi says, are we going to sit here silently obeying the Ministry of Purity while our friends and family keep on disappearing at night for speaking against them? No! Are we going to... And then we butt in straight away and say, I hope you're going to end that sentence with run. And the answer is yes, because the Ministry of Purity is on their way here now, and they don't have a rest in mind for you. Zinji, get out of here. She doesn't have any dialogue for us. Those tyrannical, naga-loving... Can you please insult them and run at the same time? We really need to get out of here. So they all start to follow us, and we can run away. You see, the peasants in some ways are a little bit smarter than we see the other people. Usually people have some long protracted dialogue that ends up putting them in danger. You'll get loads of protesters that join your party, and these guys, if Zinji in particular dies, then it's quest over. But I think all the protesting Canthons can die as well. Fallback is essentially very, very helpful here, as you can see. Dialogue will continue to happen as I run, though. Zinji says, I don't like all this running and hiding. We shouldn't be forced to flee from our government just for speaking our minds. It feels like we're letting them win. And we say, you seem to be some of the few people around here who aren't blinded by the Ministry of Purity's propaganda. Standing there and letting them slaughter you and say you attacked them would be letting them win. It's really hard to read this and go in the right direction. Sometimes people need to give their lives before others realise the direness of a situation, says Zinji. If we cannot solve this peacefully, I will die fighting them. And we say martyrdom only works, we're going up this staircase, if people know you were martyred. We didn't save your life only to have you throw it away and be deemed a traitor. Good people, human and Tengu alike, we're going to take a right here. Human and Tengu alike died so you could live. If you wish to make such a sacrifice for others, make sure you are not doing so frivolously. And Zinji says, how can you sit there and tell me to do nothing while you take up arms against the Ministry of Purity? I know your history. You're a hero. You are a killer? It isn't as noble as when you say it like that, is it? I've slaughtered thousands simply because someone told me it was for a just cause. But something you'll learn over time is everyone thinks their cause is just. The Ministry of Purity feels their cause is just. Reiko may be evil, but the men and women she's tricked into obeying her are as much victims as the rest of Cantha. So it's good. I love this kind of intercourse we have here. So, yes, I kill them like the killer that I am. Shit, we're supposed to go up that staircase. No, run, everyone, run. I kill them like the killer I am. And if they were given the chance, grown a conscience... Shit, I'm losing my place. After years of fighting wars, slaying beasts, and defeating armies. Shit, I completely buggered that up. Hold on. If they were given the chance, they would kill me like the killers they've become. But does that mean that But that does not mean I have to like it. So what? The great hero of Cantha is to become a pacifist? You've suddenly grown a conscience after years of fighting these wars, slaying beasts, and defeating armies? And we say, it is true, I've spent many years in combat and taken many lives. Each time I felt that I have allowed good to triumph over evil. But now I see the Ministry of Purity, an army so intent on defeating evil that they've become the very thing they wish to eradicate. I looked at them and saw myself. Gullible. Idealistic. I think we stop here. Idealistic. Willing to do whatever was asked of me, so long as the intentions were good. Evil acts with good intentions are still evil acts, Zinji. Make sure that in your quest to destroy evil, you don't become it. It seems that you aren't the emotionless killer I thought you to be. I'm sorry, says Zinji. Oh, that was fucking hard. I swore I could have been going the wrong way so many times there. Don't be. Truth be told, I was rather surprised myself. I guess years of this stuff can impact you in unsuspecting ways. Unsuspected as it may be, you're starting to sound a whole lot less like a killer and a whole lot more like a hero. And we get a cutscene! I cannot allow you to pass, says Zayri. Why do you insist on creating such turmoil in our lands, he says. Zayri, how's it gone? We get the Jade Sea music. Creating turmoil? Zayri, the Ministry of Purity was sent here to murder these people. The cutscene's buggered up, brilliant. I don't believe you, he says. The Ministry of Purity wouldn't do that. Reiko would never allow it. Believe it, Reiko. Reiko ordered it herself. Don't believe me? Go speak to your allies and then ask them whose blood taints their blades. I guess the idea is some of them died, but the answer should be clear to you after seeing the terror on the faces of your countrymen. Come on, Zayri, you're not a bad person. Don't do this, he says. I don't know what to do. Of course you don't. I fucking love the music. I love the JC music. It's probably my favourite track in all of Guild Wars. Nostalgia stuff aside. We say, do what you know is right, Zayri. Do what would make your father proud. Oh, pull his heartstrings. He says, very well. Go now, and I will buy you some time. He's come to the right side. Zayri, don't do this. Go! Before I change my mind! I love this. I love this. This is the first cutscene I've ever been able to voice myself in all of Guild Wars. And then we run, and then the music cuts way too early. I do love that track. Some tracks I like more, like the pre-steering tracks, but that's awesome. And there you go, that's the quest. So this quest serves for me, I think, all the way through Winds of Change, right? We, the character, we've been caught up in something, and we've not been sure what the right path is to take quite often, right? And we've kind of, our characters expressed a bit of regret here and there. Obviously, when they left the Ministry of Purity's cause, they felt regret, but they stepped killing the gangs regardless. Really, it was just a bit of a mess. The character didn't know what the character's motivation was. We didn't really know what we wanted to do, yeah? I think that this quest really serves, because we're coming right close to the end, it really does feel like one of those quests that would come at the end of a long story arc as well. I think this one, it's the point where we, Tom Bluewood, or, you know, if we're the character that's supposedly done all of the prophecy stuff, the faction stuff, and the Nightfall stuff, and now we're here. We are the character. We've now learned something about ourselves. We know where we stand in this. And we speak from a position of wisdom, which I mentioned in previous episodes our character starts to do. And I think it's good because now, while the rest of Winds of Change felt a little bit wishy-washy, like we didn't quite know what we were doing, and in some ways I liked that about the plot, because it kind of felt like, oh yeah, our character doesn't have solid motivations, and often in life people don't have solid motivations, and we're not quite sure, we're just letting it, the life take us wherever it does. But now I feel like we know what we think is right, and we've settled on a position, and we're speaking from that position as someone who's accepted that we have been a murderer and a killer, just as much as many of the Ministry of Purity have been. And I think that really does tie in quite nicely, which means that these next two quests we kind of know what we want to do. We want to stop the Ministry of Purity, and while that probably isn't a shock to anyone, I feel like there's some reason, some actual emotional impact behind that decision now, and we can kind of see why that happens with that character, and I love that quest for it. I said it before, my favourite times in Guild Wars are to do with the dialogue stuff. Hey, look, somebody's actually using one of the tonics. Hilarious. Oh, wait, or is that just one of the costumes? I think that must be a tonic. I'm not sure. Or it's a costume, because he looks like a necromancer from his pose. Anyway, yeah, so I sometimes do wonder if I have ADD when I do stuff like that. But come on, that was cool. And you can always break a speech and go back into it. But yeah, so, I mean, this means that now we get these next 2 quests, and it should be a lot of fun, and we know what's going to be happening here. I said it before, as I was saying, I prefer reading dialogue and experiencing good story and well thought out dialogue and stuff in Guild Wars more than the combat. And that quest had no combat. Absolutely none. I said minimal because sometimes those peasants that are running at you can die. I mean, the cutscene kind of said it. But yeah, I mean, I can't remember if there's a cutscene at the end of everything anymore. If I was playing these as the parts were coming out, we would have already seen a couple of cutscenes, because there would have been a few at the end of part 1 and the end of part 2. They added cutscenes that were later removed when the next part was released. But that's the first and possibly only. I think there might be one more at the end of Winds of Change cutscene. And yeah, it wasn't voiced, but I'm glad that they went with a cutscene anyway. And yeah, it's just very cool. I like the quest, and I've spent this time rambling because I felt like the episode was too short. But yeah, there you go, guys. I did want to talk, just one thing, just wanted to thank you guys. I filmed that episode about me, like, passing out or whatever quite a few days ago now. But when it went up, everyone had so many stories. So many people have passed out. That's actually, it makes me feel a little bit better, and it was really cool being able to talk to you guys about that kind of stuff. So if anything weird happens to me again, I won't hesitate to actually start talking about that on the channel. But yeah, so we speak to Cowlin to end the quest. He says, "You reach them in time. That's excellent news. I fear this is not the last time civilians will be standing between the Ministry of Purity and their goals. Unfortunately, the Ministry of Purity has shown they have no tolerance for dissension and no pity for those who stand in their way. More and more citizens are starting to question the Ministry of Purity and are facing imprisonment or death for speaking out. I fear the streets will run red with the blood of our people before the Ministry of Purity gives up the power that they have gained. For now, we celebrate the life saved and pray the world becomes sane again soon." And there we go. So yeah, like I said, guys, 2 quests left. Wow, we're kind of getting up on there. But I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I guess I'll see you tomorrow. It's a tough one tomorrow, so we'll see how it goes. See you later.